This is Razer's first gaming monitor, the Razer Raptor 27. I like to think of it as the mullet of gaming monitors. So what do I mean by mullet? It's all elegant design, businesslike up front, and an aggressive party in the back. If I had one word to describe it, I'd go with over-designed. It's innovative, but kind of impractical. The 27-inch panel is really nice, which I would expect for $700. It's an IPS display, 144 Hz, designed for 1440p gaming, automatically detects FreeSync or G-Sync. It's relatively bright at 400 nits, with an almost P3 gamut, so it's better than a lot of the monitors on the market. It supports HDR, but 400 nits really isn't quite HDR, and it has a novel option in one of its game modes for streaming, which actually bumps up the brightness and makes the white point cooler, so it will look better on camera. One of the specs is it's got a 1 millisecond pixel response time, but that's really in motion blur reduction mode, where it makes the screen really, really dim, and it also does the doubling thing, which is really annoying. But all of that really takes a backseat to the design, which is an interesting translation of Razer's black slab aesthetic that it has for its laptops. Another nice touch is the gray fabric on the back of the monitor rather than flashing colors, which make it a little more businesslike as well. There are a lot of things I really like about it. For instance, it uses the underglow, which I love. I can't rave about underglow enough, and I will until I get bored with it and then suddenly it'll be old. The stand lets you tilt the display back 90 degrees, which is so convenient if you have to plug and unplug cables a lot, or if you're on a crowded desktop where you can't really get to the back. That's a touch that a lot of manufacturers just don't think of. And the other thing is, even though the monitor can't swivel back and forth, the stand easily moves left and right on the desktop. You just can't push it horizontally or vertically, which is actually nice. So what don't I like? I find the cabling kind of nuts. It uses flat, bright green cables with right angle connectors that feed through individual channels down the back of the base. That's really impractical. What happens if something goes wrong with one of the cables? You either have to buy a matching one from Razer, or you have to get a third-party cable, because they do make those, but it'll be a different color and it won't match the rest of them, which kind of defeats the purpose of having all of that matching green. Also, the cables don't glide easily through those channels, which means it's kind of hard to get them all pretty and nice the way Razer has them. So if you're lazy like me, you leave them sticking out, which, as you can tell, isn't very pretty. In the box, you get a DisplayPort, HDMI, USB-C, and USB-A extender cables, but there's no DisplayPort to mini DisplayPort, which means that if you want G-Sync compatibility, you can't connect it to a Razer laptop, which requires the mini DisplayPort. Or they don't match. And frankly, they look like they should glow in the dark, but they don't, and I really want them to. The other thing is all of those individual channels mean that the base has to be really big. That means it takes up a lot of space on your desk, and it comes at a time when most manufacturers are decreasing the size of the base for that very reason. And I've already noticed a ding in the base, which I can't unsee. I like that you can lower the monitor pretty far down close to the desk, which is something that you don't see on other monitors except for maybe the Samsung Space monitor. However, you can't raise it very high. The middle of the monitor only comes to about 13 inches, and that's where you're looking, whereas the other two monitors on my desk can make it up to 17 inches. So if you have a long torso, that may be an issue for you. So it's a great monitor, and I don't really want to discourage people from buying it. But if you're a set it and forget it type person, where you just plug everything in and you like to look at it and you're not going to touch it and you work in an empty workspace, etc., it's a great monitor for 1440p gaming. If you're like me and you futz with things and you have to change cables and you work on a crowded desktop, or if you're tall, it may not be for you.